Oh,
That's right.
What time is it? All time! What time is it?
3 days.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today. And if you want to call in, 570-530-8316. Let's get it started. ESPN, Keyshawn Davis versus Dennis Baranczyk for the WBO lightweight title, for Baranczyk's WBO lightweight title. Let me tell you what, Davis smashed Baranczyk with a fourth-round KO. It was all Davis in this fight. Davis knocked him down in the third with a body shot. The fourth round was more of the same. Left hook to the body ended the fight. This was one of the more impressive, I guess, title fights I've seen with an up-and-comer, because we all thought that Keyshawn was definitely the favorite coming in. But we all know Baranczyk was very, very good, very durable, unbeaten.
tough opponent.
Unbeaten.
Yeah.
And he just walked right through him. I mean, it wasn't even close. This was bad. I mean, he went through that guy like nothing, man. He didn't even put up a contest. He really didn't. What were your thoughts on it?
I was talking to Maestro because Maestro actually went to this fight and he got credentialed to it. And he asked me about the fight.
All the fights, man.
Yeah, that was in New York. So
yeah, he loves. Oh, yeah.
Because he lives in New York. And he asked me about this fight before, and I thought Davis would get the knockout. And he asked me, like, how do you think he's going to do it? And I did say with a body shot, but I didn't think it was going to be that dominant and that early, right? No. And then he also asked me, he goes, do you think he's going to – I said, this is going to be kind of an inside fight, battle of attrition, right? It's going to be like a phone booth type fight. It's going to be like both guys grinding it out, going at each other, right? Yeah. And you knew that Baranczyk had to get close, but Davis really didn't. But I thought he would choose to get close because I do think he wanted to really hurt this guy, and I do believe he had faith that he could get him out of there. And I did think the body attack, and a lot of other people said the same thing, because Davis is a phenomenal body puncher. I mean, he can hurt you with either hand upstairs or downstairs. So I thought he would choose to do this because I think he wanted to make a statement in this fight. I don't think he just wanted to win. I think he wanted to make a statement, and he overexceeded my expectations. I did not think that this fight would be as dominant. And even when and I got to give Keyshawn Davis credit too, because when Baranczyk got close, he tried to rough up Davis a little bit because he was desperate. You could see how he kind of forearmed that he would grab him. Tried to do a little bit of I don't want to say dirty tactics, but he pushed the envelope a little bit, got a little gritty in there, got a little grimy in spots. And Keyshawn Davis, being the young guy, he took it in stride, and he didn't lose composure. And then in certain moments, he would just push him off, like, get the fuck off me, basically. And you would see Baranczyk go flying to the floor, and he would get up, and he kind of had this discouraged look on his face, like, this guy's ragdolling me. Like, what the fuck is going on here, right? So this was, like you said, a domination from start to finish. Keyshawn Davis looked like a monster in there. And a lot of people talking about the size advantage and this and that. Okay, but again, there's no law that's like says like everyone has to be the same size. I mean, these guys. It
is what it is.
Yeah, these guys are gonna have big frames, and some guys aren't gonna have big frames.
How come Sebastian Fondor is not a weight bully?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know
what I mean? He's like 6'6" and is a welterweight or whatever, middleweight or whatever he is.
You're either a weight bully or you're weight drained. You know what I'm saying? Like we can look at so many fights where the quote unquote smaller guy, meaning if he's shorter, has shorter, Keyshawn Davis is a tall, long guy. Like Baranczyk is not. So like, how can Keyshawn Davis not be bigger than him? He has a bigger frame genetically. Like, what's he supposed to do? Like, is he supposed to cut his legs down 3 inches so he can be the same size? I mean, what do you guys want him to do? Like, what's next? We're gonna have height and reach limits too. So I just think he was more gifted, more talented, faster. he just more well-rounded, better skilled, and people try to take away from how great this performance was, and now they're talking about Duarte fighting the Medora guy there, and how Davis went the distance with him, but again, that was his 10th
Combat
fight.
math does not work.
Yeah, so
in any of them, it doesn't work in UFC. It doesn't work in MMA. Doesn't work in boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing, judo, or anything else. Wrestling, anything else. It does not. Combat math does not work.
Yeah, but I'm just seeing a lot of people trying to discredit this kid's win, and I just think it was an impressive win. I mean, 13
discredited for what? Talking about an Olympian there.
Well, again, you know how it is. Oh, who did he beat? This guy Baranchyk wasn't anything.
What do you always say? What do you always say? You don't beat anybody till you do.
You don't fight. You fight nobody till you fight somebody.
That's it.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You fight nobody till you fight somebody.
I mean, he looked amazing. And I'll tell you what, and listen, I don't know what happened in the days leading up to this fight.
Yeah.
Somebody sent the box to Keyshawn Davis's hotel room or something like that. Inside the box was a watermelon and was some bananas. Clearly a racially, motivated thing. I guess they were blaming Baranchyk. Baranchyk said he had no knowledge of it. Who knows? But that was disgusting. Yeah, it really was. I mean, why do that? And then Teofimo Lopez looked like he was trying to take credit for it by eating a banana while he was watching the whole thing. He's so corny. He's so corny.
Thank you. He is corny, right? Because that's what I take away from this guy. Like, he's trying to be the heel. He's trying he's trying to be like Floyd Mayweather was back in the day. And it's just not hitting. It's just not hitting, bro. It's not. Listen, it's just not hitting.
You either got it or you don't got it.
Thank you.
It's not something you can really acquire.
You can't force it, right?
You cannot force it.
Chael
Sonnen is a perfect example of somebody who can do it.
He can.
But then you got other guys. You see, like Henry Cejudo, right? He can't pull that off. He calls himself Triple C. He just can't do it. He cannot. He doesn't have the charisma to pull that off. And Teofimo doesn't have the charisma to pull that off. He just doesn't. He just comes off as corny. So is what it is, man. So there was a big card on ESPN that night on Friday, Valentine's Day. So there you go. But Keyshawn Davis, I don't know where he goes from here. I think he just goes up from here. Somebody in the chat said they would like to see him fight Tank. I think that's way too early. Well, I think there's two things. Number one, it's way too early. Two, they're on two different sides of the street. It's very difficult to make a fight with Tank against anybody. I know Turkey's been trying. Turkey Al-Sheikh and the Saudi, they've been trying, and it has not worked since then. But he's fighting Lamont Roach next on pay-per-view, which, again, that's not a pay-per-view caliber fight. It's just not,
Nico Ali Walsh got upset on that card. Split decision, but it probably should have been a unanimous decision. So we know how that goes.
For everybody who doesn't know, Nico Ali Walsh is actually the grandson of Muhammad Ali. Beeb, is the Nico Walsh experiment over?
Yeah, it's pretty much over.
I mean, what is he, 6-2 now?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
He's kind of pretty much done what he's going to do. And I don't know.
I think so. And I mean, no slight against him. I mean, he didn't, he only does what the promoters do. And he gets in, these fights that he probably shouldn't be in and stuff like that, because of his name and everything. But he knows that. And he started boxing late in life. So we can all tell you, like, if you start boxing like when you're 18 or 19, you're probably, or even in your 20s, you're not going to be a contender. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, you're talking about guys that have been doing this since they were like 3. They're coming out 5-6 years old and they're in there boxing. Yeah, it's different, man. Xander Zayas was the co-main against Slava Spomer. Zayas wins by TKO in the 9th. Zayas gets a lot of criticism. He does look good. Do you think he's go to that next level? I know you're not crazy about it.
Yeah, he's 21-0, got 13 knockouts. They're moving him along slow, but I keep saying this. They're just, I don't know. There just seems to be something missing. I just don't see that spark that He's not just not dynamic. Like he is hitting these guys with everything but the kitchen sink, and he's not putting a dent in them. And that to me is a little bit troubling. That's a little bit troubling. I mean, when you're, I'm not saying everyone's got to be a knockout artist, but like when you are like coming forward and you're able to hit your opponent with such a high percentage of your punches, and you're hitting them so cleanly, and you're not even really putting a dent in them. You can't even knock them down. Like it was basically a mercy stoppage, really, because the guy just pretty much couldn't defend himself. It wasn't like he was like, I mean, he was getting hurt, obviously. I mean, it doesn't feel good to get hit, but I don't know. There just seems to be something missing with Zayas, and the fact that he's 21-0. When you look at Keyshawn Davis and then you look at Xander Zayas, you can tell Keyshawn Davis is special. Yeah, Xander Zayas may be good, but I don't think he's special. Man. And maybe he doesn't have to be. Maybe he doesn't have to be. Will he be a world champion one day?
Yeah,
maybe.
I think he will.
But
I think he will.
Yeah.
But will he be he'll definitely win a belt. There's no question about that. But will he be on the same level as if we look at Keyshawn Johnson or Keyshawn Davis, excuse me. Yeah. He's not on that level. Yeah. No.
Will he ever be like
you could see there's levels, man.
Will he ever be like a Crawford? No. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll be a decent fighter. He'll still be a good fighter, probably be a world champion, but I just don't think I think that he may not reach the expectations that people are setting for him, because people are kind of talking about him like he's going to be the next best thing. He's going to be a superstar. And again, he's a good-looking kid. He's got a great image. Maybe he'll be able to sell some tickets, make some money, but will he ever be the guy? I don't think so.
And from a power standpoint, he's more Miguel Cotto than Felix Trinidad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't even say he's Miguel Cotto, really, because Miguel Cotto could get guys out of there. He could hurt guys.
Maybe a Wilfred Benitez in a power thing,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put him in the Camacho level, but he's above that at least.
Man. I think he's above Camacho in the power. I think he's above Camacho in power for sure.
I don't want to drop him down that low.
But I'm not a big Miguel Cotto fan, so not even Cotto. Nah, I don't like.
You don't like Cotto? I like Cotto.
Nope, I don't like him. You know why? Because he was always. It seemed to me that he would always negotiate on who he was going to fight. He never wanted to fight the top guys. Him and his stupid lawyer would always want to negotiate that out.
He was a tough negotiator, without question. I mean, it took a while to get.
He was more about the business end than the fighting end.
It was hard to put that Canelo fight together. He did fight Floyd. He did fight Pacquiao, but he was the B-side in those fights. But when he has leverage, he can be a hard guy to deal with. I mean, just like anyone else. But maybe you could say he took it to a level that maybe others didn't.
And you know what? I mean, after Felix Trinidad, who fights everybody, fights all comers, And then, we're used to Benitez, again, fights all comers, and then you got this guy.
I mean, he beat Shane Mosley. He beat Margarito in the rematch. Who else?
Yeah, he handicapped Margarito in that rematch, though. Couldn't wear those hand wraps.
Who would say his best win? He beat Zab Judah. Who was his best win, would you say? It's a tough one, right?
I imagine his most satisfying win was Margarito too.
Probably Margarito, right?
Yeah, because exactly, man. I mean, he had plaster on his hands and everything in that first fight, so that had to be pretty satisfying. Vito Mielnicki Jr. versus Connor Coyle. Both guys fought to a draw. Vito Mielnicki, I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's just not. I don't know. Maybe he's just not as good as we thought. I don't know. B, what were your thoughts on this? Vito's a bum. That's harsh. That's harsh.
I think he's okay. I thought he won this fight. I don't think that the scoring was. I didn't agree with the scoring. I think the scoring
wasn't it him that was trained by Goosen?
Yeah, he was trained by
like 2 weeks, and then he left California because he was homesick or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? That right there, I think that right there killed it for me. I think it did. I really did. I think that the fact that he left California, and this is what they were saying. This is what was reported, not what was, whatever it was. but it was reported that he was homesick. He didn't want to beef away from home, and he came back to New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, man, we've talked to guys who moved clear across from, what was it, Michigan to Las Vegas, didn't know a soul down there. You know what I mean? Listen, man, you're either in it or you're not in it, and you can't be halfway in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you just can't. So, and ML860 said he's not athletic. I think he's plenty athletic. I think he's got the tools, but that it's a mental game as well.
Yeah.
And I know they were trying to, you remember when the guy, what was his manager, called us? We interviewed him because he's been on the show before a couple of times, actually. And the manager called us because we had mentioned something about betting. And it wasn't even, it was like what was this, Beeb? This was
it was very lighthearted.
Yeah. And it was like a passing
we were talking about something like, we were just kidding around, saying something about gambling or something like that. Would you bet on this? Would you bet on that?
Yeah. So he calls us up the next day, like his manager or whatever is, I don't know if his manager is whoever from, I guess, a publicist or whatever, and said, you guys can't say that. You guys can't. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he called me out of the blue.
Yeah, because it was so lighthearted.
It was such a small thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They still let him come. Like, we still interviewed him after that, though, didn't we? We still interviewed him another time.
I don't remember if I brought him back on or not. I might have just let him go. I don't know, because I didn't want to deal with that nonsense. Like, if you come out here, I want to be able to talk to you about whatever. Yeah. We're not going to offend you. We're not going to go into crazy subjects.
We're not going to put you in a rough situation. We're not going to get you arrested. We're not going to get you arrested or anything. We're not going to get you divorced from your wife if you're married.
And it's all lighthearted. A lot of it's light. Remember, we had the twins on here. We were real lighthearted with them,
Yeah.
But man, like, and so they were really protecting this guy's image and everything like that. And it's like, dude, I mean, like, you protect this guy so much. And again, like, I thought Goosen did wonders with that kid.
Yeah,
you can see the difference just after that fight, man. And to leave Goosen like that because listen, man. Again, you can't be halfway in. You're either in or you're not.
Yeah, you can't be halfway in.
This not in this profession anyway.
Not at all.
Let me tell you about somebody who's all in. Abdullah Mason versus Manuel James. Mason wins via 4th round KO. Says he wants a title shot this year. Beeb. He wants a title shot this year. All right. He's going to get it.
We'll see.
And let me tell you this. In the main event of the night, Jared Anderson, big baby.
Oh, come on.
This is what. How dare you?
I mean, this guy.
Knowing he's from Ohio. First of all, he's from Titletown, and he's going to lose a fight, and you're just going to pile on him, right? I thought he had the performance of the night. I really did. I thought he had the performance of the night against Marios Colias, right? Who is a very underrated fighter, by the way. In case you didn't know him, I watched all his fights. He's very underrated, extremely underrated. What did Jared Anderson do? Nothing. He went out there and won every round. That's what Jared Anderson did. That's what Jared Anderson does. That's what people from Titletown do. B, what were your thoughts on this fight?
How dare Jared Anderson looked very uninspired.
I didn't say he won every round. You didn't. I thought he looked better. I got to be honest. I thought he looked better than Keyshawn Davis out there. I really did. Yeah. I thought it was like masterful what he pulled out there. And it's a shame that, you're too biased to not see it.
Maybe you would. I don't know what you were doing while you were watching the fight. I don't know.
Don't worry about what I was doing while I was watching the fight. All right. But just know that I was watching the fight.
He was uninspired.
He looked completely washed.
He was uninspired. He looked listless. He even said in the corner, "I don't want to be here." So that's never a good sign.
Dog him back by the 5th round. How dare you?
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Oh, that's cold-blooded, man. You didn't think I thought Jared Anderson had the performance of the night. You didn't think so? He dominated that guy. And let me tell you what. The Bacoli thing, I heard there was a lot of stuff in his camp or whatever. I can't really go into it. Okay. But I heard a lot of things about that Bacoli fight. Can't wait for that rematch, number one. If I was Anderson, let me tell you what. If I was Anderson, I wouldn't even give him a rematch. I would send him to the back. You know what I mean? Just keep going forward.
Yeah, he looked a little bit uninspired. Even Tim Bradley, who was once high on him, he kind of jumped off the big baby Anderson train, right?
Load up on him. I
What'd you
it
think?
could have just been his choice of opponent. Honestly, it could have just been his choice of opponent. I don't know. That guy was tough, man. But I expected a lot more out of Jared Anderson than we got.
How'd you think of the whole demeanor throughout the fight? The in between corners, how he was looking, the exchanges between him and the trainer. What'd you think? Wasn't a good sign, right?
Wasn't a good sign, man.
Yeah.
And it's never I never really advocate for switching trainers after a loss because, unless you went in there with the exact wrong game plan, you should have, a lot of boxers don't like to say, hey, it was my fault.
Of course.
And to me, that's when switching trainers happens.
Sure.
But
imagine
Imagine
going into work and walking up to your boss and telling your boss, I don't really want to be here. That wouldn't be a real good move, would it?
No.
Hi, Joseph. The CEO's here to meet the staff. How you doing, sir? I really don't want
to come back.
I don't really want to be here. Mr. CEO, I don't really want to be here. That's just not a.
Torres says when you take a pay cut from Riyadh season, it shows. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's not a winning attitude, bro. To be honest, and that was probably a really nice payday he got in Riyadh. I'm curious to see how much he got there. I'm sure there was a lot of money on the table for him for that fight.
He's like what drunk Irishman. He said it right here. He said Anderson is done. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he said his heart wasn't in it. That's what he looked like. He looked like his heart wasn't in it.
Yeah,
he didn't want to be.
I said he looked uninspired, listless.
Yeah, and coming back off a knockout because he was knocked out. Like it was bad. Like at no point was he ever in that fight with Bacoli. That was not good.
And Maestro said he walked up to him after the fight. He had his head down and whatever. And Maestro said, "Hey, don't worry about it. You'll do better. You did okay, man. You don't just keep sticking with it. Don't give up." Whatever.
Tell Maestro to stay away from Jared Anderson. All right, just tell Maestro.
Gave him some words of encouragement.
Don't worry about it. He's fine.
Don't be jealous.
Don't worry about it.
Jealous.
Let me tell you what. Don't worry about it. Let Jared Anderson do his thing. Stay out of his ear. We're from Ohio. We stick to our own over here. All right.
Maestro's got a managerial license.
He's getting a managerial license.
He legitimately does. He's got a license on BoxRec. If you Google him, Emil Carbarnet on BoxRec, he actually has a license.
That does not. I don't know why, but that doesn't shock me. I don't know why it doesn't. It just doesn't.
Right. He sends me that ballot from the Boxing Writers Association of America every year so I can vote.
So you can vote, right?
I can vote. Yeah, my mock vote. Yeah. So I got to show him some respect.
The mock vote. You know where that mock vote goes, don't you? File 13, the trash. All right.
Well,
all right.
Just like put in the effort.
You put in the effort for what? What do you put in the effort for? What's the matter with you?
For myself. I do things for myself sometimes. I don't always need to be acknowledged by others.
All right. On the zone, Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza for the vacant WBO interim 140-pound title. Arnold Barboza wins a split decision over Jack Catterall, 115-113 for Catterall, and then 115-113 twice for Barboza. Listen, I didn't score the fight, but I thought Barboza was the aggressor. I thought he held his ground. I thought he stayed right in the middle. If he wasn't moving forward and Catterall came, he was right there in the middle. He didn't give. He didn't budge. And I thought he won the fight. I really did. But again, I didn't score it, so I really don't have a lot to say in it. Beeb, you scored it. So tell me what you saw.
I had Catterall edging at 115-113, but this was a close fight that really, I know we say this a lot, but this truly was a fight that could have gone either way. As you saw by the judges, they had a split decision, 115-113 for Barboza, 1 for Catterall the other way, same exact score. I thought Catterall got off to a decent start. I thought going into the fight, I thought Catterall was probably the quicker of the two, but I think I was wrong. Barboza did look a touch faster than him in this fight, particularly in the second half. But I thought Catterall was the more crafty, trickier guy with the herky-jerky movement, you know, the feints, and more of a sharpshooter with his punches.
Yeah,
both guys like to fight at a distance. They like the space. They're not really inside fighters. But the problem I thought with Barboza was a lot of times he has a hard time gauging his range sometimes. And he even saw it in the first half of the fight where he was coming up short with a lot of the punches. He's still throwing a lot of punches, but he was missing a lot with them. And Catterall, even though he's a sharpshooter, he can also kind of step back and walk you into traps. He's a good counter puncher as well. So Catterall, I thought, was a little bit more refined, just a little bit more skilled. I don't want to say skilled, but I just thought he was just a little bit better in the accuracy department. And I thought that would be the difference. I thought he would land the cleaner shots, the more eye-catching shots. And I just thought Barboza, although does throw a lot of punches, I thought a lot of them were going to miss. But as the fight wore on, as you said, you know, early on when Barboza was kind of moving out, taking that defensive posture after throwing his combination, and he would move out and he would move too far out of range. But as the fight wore on, like you said, he kind of held his ground a little bit and didn't move so far away from Catterall when he was resetting. So it gave him less space during the transition back to offense that he had to cover. So he was like right there. So he was able to gauge the range a little better as the fight wore on, particularly in the second half. And he upped the volume a little bit too, and he became a little bit more aggressive because he said to himself, I would imagine, that I got to do something different here because this fight is close. I'm away from home, and I gotta press the action, make my case here, or I could lose a decision here in a close fight. So I think he upped his volume a little bit, threw more punches, and he basically said, hey, maybe not all these punches are going to land, but if one or two of them gets through, that's okay. So I thought he took a little bit more chances, threw more punches, and he started to kind of overwhelm a little bit Catterall with the volume, and he outworked him. And Catterall had a hard time dealing with the hand speed and the amount of punches that were coming at him. And Barboza's jab was really starting to hit the mark too in the second half of the fight, due to him really learning and adjusting to establishing the range in the second half of the fight. So I thought he made the adjustments in the second half by not moving as far away, holding his feet, and just upping the volume. And I thought he won. I mean, I don't have a problem with him winning the fight. I think the second half of the fight is what probably won him the fight, because I had the first 6 rounds, I had it 4-2, and then Barboza really came back in the second half. But I still didn't think it was enough. But I can understand how someone would, you know.
King KO says Catterall got robbed again. The knockdown shouldn't have been taken away. Listen,
no, the feet got tangled up. Yeah, the feet got
robbery.
tangled up. Go back and watch it in slow motion. You'll see that the feet did get tangled up.
That's the thing. It's hard. I tell you, you know, when you got a fighter you like or whatever, watching him fight, watching him not get the best of the guy or watching him lose, it's a tough thing to do. You know, you try to make excuses, but the bottom line is, you know, like I said, it was not a robbery.
Yeah, the feet did get
tangled. That fight could have went either way. I mean, it could have, like I said, it could have went either way. I thought Barboza won, but again, I didn't score it, so it's hard for me to say. So there you go. Teofimo Lopez next for Barboza. That is not an easy fight for Lopez at all. That, in fact, listen, man, after that performance for Barboza, because I thought Catterall would have beat Teofimo, but let me tell you what, he looked good. I mean, he looked really good. And if he fights the same way, Teo could have a problem, man.
Yeah.
Who do you favor in that fight, Beeb?
I think Barboza has a shot there. Teo's is more of a counter puncher, and I thought Jermaine Ortiz edged out Teofimo Lopez. I thought he outworked him, and I could see I may pick Barboza here because I like what I saw against Catterall, and think the thing too is the speed. Like, you're a counter puncher like Teo, and you're used to being the faster guy. He may not be I don't think he was the faster guy against Jermaine Ortiz, and he may not be the faster guy here. So if you're dealing with a guy like Barboza, who's the quicker guy, who could throw the quicker flurries, and if you're just going to lay back and try to throw one shot at a time, and you're not significantly hurting Barboza with any one particular shot, and if that fight plays out in a similar fashion to the way this Catterall fight played out, right? Then I could see Barboza getting rounds, based off of sheer activity, right?
Yeah.
They may not all be eye-catching shots, but one or two of them are going to get in, and if you're landing one shot to my two, or if you're throwing half the shots that I'm throwing, but I'm landing slightly more, if I'm throwing a ton more, the judges will probably reward the activity, the effective aggressiveness, right? So
T.O. comes up big in big fights, though. He always seems to,
does.
you know what I mean? He really does.
He
The
does.
fights that that aren't like real consequential
Yeah.
or whatever, he's like, but on big fights, it's like he knows lights are on. He comes out and
Barboza's got quick
he's
feet.
tough, man.
Yeah, Barboza's got quick feet. He knows how to move, right? He can get out of danger when he has to. He's taller and longer than T.O. And I think if Barboza boxes well on the outside here and uses his jab, and on occasion picks and chooses his spots where he wants to kind of flurry quick and then step back out and jab his way out and kind of reset, but not go too far out, but stay there with T.O.
Yeah.
I think he could nick these rounds and probably squeak out a decision, just like he did in this fight. So
yeah, I mean, he's a tough fighter. I mean, it was a good fight. I thought he fought very well, especially in England. Especially right there in his hometown. You know what I mean? So that was tough, man. It was a tough thing to do. On DAZN, Oscar Duarte versus Miguel Madueno. Duarte wins by a TKO in round 7. Babe, anything on this one?
Yeah, this Madueno, he got off with a decent start, won the first 2 rounds, but after the first 2 rounds, it was all downhill from there. It was like target practice because Duarte was just smothering him like a blanket, and Duano just stood there. Obviously, I don't think he wanted to stand there, but he, for whatever reason, he just couldn't keep Duarte off him, and he was like in his chest all night, and he was just pummeling and pounding on him, and until the very end. I don't even know how he lasted as long as he did with some of those shots he was taking throughout the course of the fight from rounds 3 to 7, but he did. Give him credit for that. But those shots were just landing too flush, too hard, and too frequently. And I just did not think he was going to go the distance. A lot of people, like I said, I talked about this, and people say, "Oh, well, this is the guy that Keyshawn went 10 rounds with." Blah blah blah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Then I asked the same
Combat
people.
math.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Then I asked the same people. I said, "Oh, so if Keyshawn fought Duarte, would you bet on Duarte?" "Oh, no, I'm not saying that." So then what the fuck is the point? Like, just give Keyshawn his flowers. He had a great win. 13 fights. Young, how old is he? Like 22, 23?
Oh, he's out of the Olympics. Yeah. So it was.
Again, just give the guy his fucking credit.
Right.
It's a good win. It's okay. It's a good win. Give the guy his credit.
And I'll tell you what, nobody thought it was going to be that easy, by the way. Nobody.
Look, people picked him to win, but no one said it was going to be a 4th round stoppage. And no one said it was going to be that one-sided and dominant, right? Yeah. I picked like maybe a 7th or 8th round stoppage, and he beat him. He beat him in friggin' 4 rounds. Is he 25? Thank you. I thought it was a little bit younger.
There it is.
But I always got to fact check him because this guy's a little bit loose with the truth sometimes.
Oh, stop it! What's the matter?
HLD.
How dare you?
Yeah, he's 25. Thank you.
Loose with the truth.
He's loose with the truth, man. He exaggerates a lot, man. I had to fact check him, man.
HLD, we apologize on behalf of Ringside Reporter and everyone else affiliated with us. These are the expressions and views of Joe Habib, not us. Sorry about that. All right, let's talk about this. Let me tell you this.
The odds weren't 5-1.
They were 5-1. They were 5. Believe HLD. Stop it, Beeb.
They were 3-1. I saw the line.
It was 5-1. This bookie said it was 5-1.
His line was 5-1. The real line was 3-1.
That's right.
Stop lying, HLD. You were right about that. I apologize. Said the guy's age, but you're wrong about the odds. He wasn't 5-1. I saw the odds. He was a 3-1 favorite. Get out of here.
Listen, I'm going to talk about something that I never talked about. I never thought I'd talk about on here. Did you guys catch the USA-Canada hockey game last night?
I did.
I've never really watched a hockey game from start to finish. It's not my thing. My gosh. They were booing the American national anthem like it was their job. I mean, you couldn't hear anything in there. Everybody sang along with the Canadian. As soon as they dropped the puck, I guess, and they started the game, Two guys just took their gloves off and started throwing down. I'm like, what is going on? And they're like letting them fight. I don't understand. I don't know a lot about hockey. But anyway, they're over there letting these dudes fight. And I'm like, why isn't anybody breaking it up? And as soon as they went to the ground, they broke it up. As soon as that fight got up, another fight started. There was like 3 fights in the first 6 minutes of that game. It was insane. Babe, did you catch this?
I saw the highlights of the fights.
Yeah. Like, I had never seen anything like this, man. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because to me, hockey's a boring game because I don't understand it, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about it, but that was insane. JC says, blame Trump. Yeah, that's what I imagined. Yeah, I know Canada's pretty scared right now, so I don't blame them. So there you go. Yeah, listen, Trump is a true American patriot.
I tell everyone, full disclosure, if you listen to this show, I'm going to be wrong at least 50% of the time.
50?
But when I'm right, I'm not.
That's a little. I mean, like 50%. If we're gonna call out odds here, 50%. That's your bar. I think we're looking at least 65, 70.
You think I'm wrong? But what I'm going to say is, I'm not going to concede the 50% when I'm right. I'll argue my 50% when I'm right. I'll give you the 50% when I'm wrong. So I'll always concede a point when I'm wrong, but I'm going to hold on to my 50% when I'm right. That's what I'm going to say.
Alex Alberto G says, would you guys have a problem with Trump getting rid of the Ali Act so Dana White takes over boxing? He signed the Ali Act.
Is the Ali Act worth the paper it's been printed on? When has it ever been?
Right. When has it ever worked anyway?
When has it ever been exercised?
It's like
name one time it's ever been used.
Right. It's like all these executive orders being signed. It's like a wish list, That's all it is.
That's right.
So what are you going to do? All right, let's bring Robert on here to pick up Beeb's slack here. Robert, 530, you're live.
Hello, guys. Hello. First of all, Eric, if you'll help me learn the game of soccer, I'll help you learn the game of hockey. I love
there you
hockey.
go. Deal.
Listen,
me and Maestro will school you on soccer.
No one asked you to be a sports instructor. You come on and you give your take on the fight. Let's stop changing the subject here.
Okay.
You're such a jerk. Why would you say that? He comes on. Oh, that's cold-blooded, man. Come on.
Why are you going to encourage the guy, bro? He knows nothing about hockey. Please.
Hell if I don't. I've been watching it since I was a kid. So,
yeah, and I've been watching ballet since I was 6. Doesn't mean I could do a pirouette. Get out of here. Come on.
But I'll tell you what it does mean, Beeb.
Okay, Eric.
No,
Eric, I'm going to help you out here.
HLD, I apologize for that too. He was a 525. He was a minus.
Eric, I'm going to help you out here.
All right.
Wrong again.
I think the one since you're from Ohio and you like to root for guys from Ohio, focus your attention on Cleveland and Abdul Mason. I don't think.
I told you,
Jared
Titletown, son.
I don't think Jared Anderson has much of a future. So you need to focus your attention on Cleveland and Abdul Mason. That's the direction you need to focus on. And by the way, Keyshawn Davis said after he won the fight on Friday that if Abdul Mason wants a title shot, he'll be glad to give him one. So.
I agree.
There you go.
So what were your thoughts on the game?
Ahead.
What were your thoughts on that game? The hockey
God.
game. Was that nuts or what?
Oh yeah. And by the way, there's fighting in hockey all the time, Eric. It's a regular part.
They're
of
not very
sport.
good fighters, though. They're like basketball players. They're not very good fighters. It's just kind of a bunch of like. And the first thing you notice this too. The first thing they do is grab each other to hang on, and then they have one free hand. Yeah,
well,
it's not.
You have to remember, Eric. You have to remember they're on ice skates, so they do that a lot.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You're gonna throw hands. You gotta know how to throw hands. I'm just saying.
Yeah. First of all, I was very disappointed in Jack Catterall's performance yesterday. I thought he was a much better fighter than Barboza.
What?
I guess I have to look at Arnold Barboza a lot more.
How'd you score the fight, Robert? How'd you score the fight, Robert?
I scored it for Barboza. I scored it 8 rounds to 4 for Barboza. I thought he clearly took over that fight
Really?
and
Okay.
and won that fight easy.
All right.
And I really never cared much for Arnold Barboza, but I've got to change my opinion on him. He did a lot better than I ever
You want
thought
to be a
he would.
fair-weather fan now. Now you want to jump on the
right?
bandwagon.
I
all
thought
of a
he
sudden.
won the fight. I mean, I thought he
Now
won
you
the
want to
fight,
jump on the
you know?
bandwagon.
How did
all
you
of a
have it?
sudden.
Did you score it?
No, Joe.
You had to get
I
to
mean,
four.
come on. When you,
Did you score it,
Joe,
Robert?
when you see guys, go ahead, Eric.
Did you score it?
Yeah, I had it 116-112 for Barboza.
Wow, look at that for Barboza.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I
mean,
thought he clearly.
You've always
won that
been a
fight
front runner,
yesterday.
Robert.
First of all,
You've always
Robert,
been a
all right,
front-
and I gotta ask you about this because a lot of people are trying to pile on Jared Anderson, including, of course, Beeb. Mark said Big Baby Latorable. Robert, what did you think of Jared Anderson's performance? I thought it was a great comeback performance. No?
No. First of all, when you hear a fighter in the corner after each round saying two things, I don't want to go 10 rounds and I don't want to be here. That tells me you are to pull the plug on your career. If you're not motivated,
Tell him, Rob.
if you're not motivated to actually win, you don't need to be in the ring. I mean,
Tell him, Robert.
in the UK, they just recently lost a guy, 28 years old, John Cooney. He died in the ring. So, I mean, Jared Anderson, if your heart's not in it, get the hell out of the sport.
Robert, I mean, you don't have to get that extreme though
kinda
with die. Like, why do you have to bring up
that's
examples of
kinda
dying in the ring, Robert? Like,
Yeah.
you-
Why
do you have-
would you even
just
go
like-
there?
Just like when
Well,
you
because
Yeah, that was
Jared
cold-blooded, man.
Anderson is, if Jared Anderson is half in and half out, then something bad is going to happen to him.
Robert, this
simple.
is just the same rhetoric you were using with Triple
Yeah.
G when you stopped liking Triple
Give me
G.
a
Triple
break.
G used to be
Give
your
me a break.
favorite
I'm
fighter.
just saying.
Then what you said
Got
when
a
you didn't
point.
like him, you said, I hope he gets a beating in the ring. Why would you wish that? Then you went out and bought a Triple G voodoo doll, started sticking pins in it. That's how sadistic you are.
Where does he get a voodoo doll at?
I
Was it
love
like
how- I
homemade
love
or
how
Get
you
him on
make-
store
Amazon.
bought?
You get them on Amazon. Do your research.
I love how you make this
I never
up.
really
I
thought
love
about
how
that.
you make this up, Joe.
Make it up.
You are to be a writer. That's good.
Make it up.
Fantastic.
We were on the
Hey.
phone talking about this. I remember it like it was yesterday. Make it up.
It's going up to 77% now, Beeb. HLD says feed Jared Anderson to Richard Torres. Richard Torres, that's a good fight. I think that might be a good
Hey,
fight.
you know
That
what?
guy's good, Richard Torres.
That-
Richard Torres, very good fighter. Olympian.
I think that would be a very good fight for Mr. Torres.
Yeah.
Yep. I have no argument with that. So,
I
but
thought it was a Triple G blow up doll.
now,
Fight.
Joe, where do you think Jack goes from here since he's got to take a step back now after losing yesterday?
I'm gonna
Who
be
do you
honest
think
with you.
Eddie puts him in against next?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, Robert. I think he'll put him in with a decent guy again, and I think Catterall is still in the mix. I thought it was a close fight. I thought it was a competitive fight. I mean, you can make an argument he won. I guess the more people I talk to, though, a lot of people are saying Barboza won that fight. So I could be in the minority. Who knows? But
Yeah, no, Joe, I don't normally disagree with you, but in this case, I thought Arnold clearly won that fight.
that's fine. One thing I don't do is scorecard shame on this show because like I said, I've been on the other.
You
the other-
scorecard shamed the Tiafimo and Lomachenko fight.
Never.
You scorecard shamed a lot of
Never.
people over that fight.
I would never do that, man.
Pretty sure you did.
I want to see the transcript of that show.
79% now.
Hey, Eric, I was on that
79%.
show.
You
I
better
remember-
pull up
I
the
remember
transcript
very
of that.
well. I remember that.
What?
Yes,
What?
yes, you did.
All I said was Teddy Atlas was so adamant about Lomachenko winning that second round. And I was like,
Yeah. Well, Teddy Atlas knows. Teddy Atlas knows.
Oh, the same Teddy Atlas that took him a cell phone in the Michael Moore's corner and said, "You want to talk to your kid?"
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. And
that
Teddy's
guy-
a motivator, son. And because of Teddy Atlas, I am a fireman. All right. How about that?
Teddy Atlas. with
We're
his-
all firemen.
Teddy Atlas.
Because I go where the heat is, baby. Sorry.
Him and his performative antics. Never met a camera he didn't like. But I got to give him credit now.
That's right.
He gets Turki Al-Sheikh flies him into Riyadh, so he must be somebody, man.
Turki Al-Sheikh, he is
once
somebody.
you're aligned, once you're
talking about?
Like I used to not like Mike
Disrespect Teddy
Coppinger.
Atlas on this show.
I used to not like Mike Coppinger, but
That's
now
right.
now that he's hooked up with
what?
Turki Al-Sheikh, he can, he's got Turki Al-Sheikh's air. He can get an interview with Turki Al-Sheikh anytime he wants.
That's right.
As soon as you're aligned with His Excellency, automatically you become an ally. Alhamdulillah, Ashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, that's how I believe it.
Hey,
Inshallah.
and that's another thing, guys. We have the best boxing card in ages coming up this next week.
All right.
I'm
So
looking
before we break that down, Robert, who do you got in the main event and the why?
I've got Archer Beterbiev pulling out another split decision.
Wow.
I think it's going to be extremely close. Hell, it wouldn't even shock me if it turned out to be a draw. But I think Beterbiev will pull out another victory. And I'm going to say this again. Joseph Parker will be your new IBF heavyweight champion. He's going to beat Daniel Dubois.
That's a good fight.
I'm picking Joseph Parker too.
All right, Robert, we're going to put you back on hold.
Okay.
Scram.
What's wrong with you?
Exit stage left. Let's get out of here.
All right. Let's talk about the upcoming fights here. Riyadh, the big one and pretty much the only one. Luis Neri is fighting in Tijuana, fighting a guy named Kensuke Kameda, 10 rounds junior featherweights. There's no TV on it, so maybe catch it on YouTube or something like that. I don't think anybody really is that interested, but if you are, hey, it's there. Go to Tijuana, watch it live. Who cares? All right, listen. February 22nd, Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. When I see Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, come on. If you can't get excited, I just see the name anymore and I'm like, what's going on?
I'm all in now, man. I'm
all in. I'm considering moving to Saudi. I'm considering moving there.
I may get a vacation home in Riyadh.
I tell you what, I'm with you. I'm with you. What a beautiful place too. It looks like such a beautiful spot, man. It really does.
Isn't it?
Arthur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol. 12 rounds for Beterbiev's undisputed light heavyweight championship. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker in the co-main. 12 rounds for Dubois' IBF heavyweight championship. Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz for Adames' WBC middleweight title. This, I tell you what, out of all of them on there, this is a great card. This is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah,
They are very high on Hamza Shiraz. Yeah. And he looks good. And he looks like a killer, man. He really does. Virgil Ortiz Jr. This is another one. My gosh.
I love this one.
Right? Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. 12 rounds for a vacant WBC junior middleweight interim title. Interim. Yeah. Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith. Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. He's on there. And he's almost the first fight. The curtain jerker will be Zhilei Zhang, Big Bang Zhang versus Agit Kabayel, 12 rounds for the vacant WBC heavyweight interim title. This beats any of the Don King cards.
It does.
Without question.
This is easily the best
card. It doesn't even come close.
Best card I've ever seen.
Lord is going to raise his kids in Riyadh. That's right. Schofield by upset. Okay, Torres has Schofield by upset.
Wow. Okay.
And Hamza stops Adames. I don't disagree.
I think Hamza stops Adames. I think Kabayel outboxes Zhang. I like Parker to win by decision, even though I'll be pulling and wanting Dubois to win. I think Parker's going to outbox him. I think the movement, and the versatility is going to be too much for him. But
I think Dubois gets him. I know you came down on him because he had that eye thing or whatever in that fight. You called him a quitter and all that other nonsense. I'm riding with my guy. I'm riding with Daniel Dubois in that. I think he wins that fight.
You know what Maestro was saying, and I didn't know this. He's saying that Parker is putting on a lot of weight, and he's like going the weightlifting route, and he's bulking up for this fight.
Yeah, and
he's concerned that
could hinder him.
That could hinder him with the movement because his game is movement. Like you see how quick he is on his feet, and he can move.
Stamina wise, it's going to hinder him.
He fights a fast-paced fight sometimes. You know, he's very energetic in there. And if Maestro's right, he said go on his Instagram page. You could see how he's like really focusing on putting on a lot of weight, and he looks like he's going to be about 250 for this fight. Let's see what happens at the weigh-in. But I'm going to go with Parker. I'm going to go with Parker in this one. I think his movement and just his hand speed, his foot speed, and just the way he can like fight. Like he fights a very fast paced fight. I think similar to that Usyk fight with Dubois. You saw how that like Usyk was kind of outworking him a little bit, and I think he pushed the pace against Dubois. Moving in and out and throwing quick flurries and stuff, and it really seemed to befuddle Dubois a little bit. And I think that something similar could happen here with Parker.
What do you think about Ortiz Jr., Virgil Ortiz, and Israel Madrimov? That's a good fight. I think Madrimov wins that fight.
I like Madrimov in that fight too. That guy is a bulldog on the inside. I just think he's a little bit more durable than Virgil Ortiz, a little tighter defensively, and I don't know, punching power. Maybe you could favor Ortiz. I don't. But I think Madrimov is a hard puncher too. Madrimov is a very slick counter puncher too. He's a crafty guy. Nice, throws feints. And if you saw Crawford with, he had a hard time timing him with the level. He has the level changes too.
He's a very well schooled fighter, man.
Yeah, it's hard to pin this guy down.
Yeah,
really. He's very tough guy to pin down. Doesn't give you much, right? Doesn't make many mistakes. And I thought Crawford just barely beat him. I had it 115 and 113.
It was close. It was close. I thought Crawford won. I think I might even have the same score. Maybe I had 116, 112. And I thought Crawford won, but I thought it was definitely a tough fight. It wasn't a gimme.
And I actually thought Bohachuk beat Virgil Ortiz. I know you went the other way with it, but because of the two knockdowns, I had him winning. I had it even in rounds, but because of the two knockdowns, I actually thought Bohachuk won the fight.
Yeah.
So Virgil Ortiz, he's gonna bring the pressure. He's got a beautiful hard jab that can really break an opponent's rhythm, knock them backward. But his game is getting close, mid range to inside. Madrimov is very similar, but he has a decent outside game too with that jab. That jab is very tricky from the outside with Madrimov too. It's kind of like an off speed punch the way he changes up the rhythm on it. So I like Madrimov here. I just think he's just a tougher, he's a grittier. He's going to be a tougher and grittier on the inside. And I think when these two exchange, I just have a feeling that he's going to be able to deal with Ortiz's power more so than Ortiz is going to be able to deal with him, because I just think that Madrimov he's just a really, really tricky guy up close, and he's really good. He's how to outmaneuver guys up close. I think he's a compact target. He's going to be hard for Ortiz to hit as cleanly as he wants to, whereas I think Madrimov will be able to get his stuff off a little cleaner in this fight. I think
that's a good fight. That's a main event somewhere else. Anywhere else, it's a main event. Daniel Dubois. I'm taking Daniel Dubois over Joseph Parker. The big one, Better Be versus Bivol.
I'm taking Better Be again.
I'm taking Bivol again.
Taking him again? Okay.
Again. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking Bivol.
Some argue he won the first fight. Hey, listen, you thought he won the first fight, so
yeah, I thought he did.
I think Robbie had him. Did Robbie had him win in the first fight, or did he have Better Be win in the first fight? I forget.
That I don't know. I don't know. And I'm wondering, what did I have? I'm trying to, if I can find it real quick.
You said you had Bivol winning 115 and 113 against Better Beef. I remember that. We looking for the
Better Be Bivol. Yep, 115, 113. I had Bivol winning that fight. Close fight. It could really go either way again. I mean, honestly, it really could.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Better Beef by decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
It's a razor thin fight.
Oh yeah.
A razor thin, like anybody can win this fight. Yep. We haven't seen one that close in years. So it's both those guys are both perfect foils for each other.
Better Beef was coming off the layoff, coming off the injury, got off to a little bit of a slower start. I think if Better Beef starts a little bit faster, commits to the body a little bit more, I think he'll do better in this fight.
And he hits hard. He hits hard, that's for sure. 804. I believe this is Corey. You're live.
Corey Lee's
What?
boxing.
Hey, let's
Corey.
go. Let's go. What's up, everybody?
What's happening, man?
Brother?
Who do you got? Better Be for
Y'all
Bivol.
All right, man. All right. So I got Better Beef, man. And I got Better Beef by knockout. I think he's gonna finally do it. I think, the first fight he was a little tentative, with Bivol's movement. I think he's going to be able to track him down more. And, I like the interview that Bostic did, because he's fought Benavidez and he's fought, Better BF. And he was just saying that, Better BF's movement is and him hawking me down was the most that I've ever seen in my career, pretty much is what he was saying. And he was just saying that it's nothing like that. And he didn't see that in the first Bivol fight. And I'm just thinking that, him coming off that injury, the first fight, going into that fight relatively quickly, right off that injury, I think he's all healed up now. I think we're going to see a more 100% Better Beef. And I think we're going to see that seek and destroy type of Better Beef that we've been used to seeing with a 100% KO ratio before the Bivol fight. Styles do make fights. I'm not going to say, Bivol's not an awesome fighter. He beat Canelo Alvarez for sake. But, at the end of the day, skills pay the bills. And I think Better Beef has more tools in his arsenal than Bivol. And I don't think he's over the hump like a lot of people do. A lot of people think that Bivol's Better Beef is over the hill, being that he's, getting up there in age. But he hasn't been in a whole lot of wars. He has not been in a whole lot of wars.
Hasn't taken a lot
he
of
has
damage.
been in a lot of training camps.
Yeah, he hasn't taken a lot of damage.
I think Better Beef can get it done, man. And I think he will get it done. And I want to talk about the Parker versus Dubois fight, because I think a lot of people are sleeping on Daniel Dubois. I think confidence.
Thank you.
I think confidence is really key in the sport of boxing. And him coming off of that Anthony Joshua fight, a career-defining fight, shall I say. I think we're all looking past Daniel Dubois. And I think that, him, just putting it all together, in the Anthony Joshua fight, trading with Anthony Joshua, knocking down Anthony Joshua, knocking out Anthony Joshua, did something to the morale of his camp. I think he's going to do nothing but wonders in this in this Joseph Parker fight. And I really truly think that, Daniel Dubois, we haven't seen the best of him yet. I think he's a bull coming forward. And, he's a massive dude, man. He's a massive dude. He's not a small heavyweight by any means. I even think he's bigger than Anthony Joshua. And I just think that he knows how to control his his movement a lot better, especially after facing Alexander Usyk. You guys got to understand, man. He's been in there with the who's who of heavyweight division.
And I think
you don't want
to listen. I've been telling you for years about Usyk.
Yeah,
You've told us about Dubois too, haven't you? How dare you? You're
so
the one that called him a quitter. I got it right on screen. This is what you said, Beeb.
Get it off.
You said Daniel Dubois is a quitter. You never gave him a chance.
That's defamation. Get it off.
Cold-blooded.
I'm a huge
Daniel Dubois fan.
Everyone knows what you did. I have the record.
Nah.
I have the transcript.
Everybody knows I wouldn't do something like that.
I'll pull it up. Don't make me do it.
Pull up whatever you want.
And shout out to Robbie, man. I know he's
great.
on here when I've been
him.
on
Don't
here
worry
a while.
about him. Don't worry about him.
Robbie's
Well,
awesome,
Robbie, man. What's up,
I'm
Robbie?
not
shows-
that.
Football,
I'm the only one that really
all
shows
going
that guy
well.
respect on here, man. Everyone else gives him shit. I show him a lot of respect.
I put some respect on his name. I'll tell you that.
No one shows that kid more respect than I do.
So.
All right, Corey, we're going to get rolling here, man.
All
right, my friend.
All right, yeah.
All right, so let's go to the news and rumors here. Beeb, this is a big one here. ESPN their current deal with Top Rank is set to expire in August. Now, Top Rank can leave early if they find another TV outlet, but honestly, where do they go from here? And not only that, they put on some big fights. They put on some great fights, I thought, throughout the years that they've been on ESPN. I mean, Lomachenko, Teofimo, they've all been, and there hasn't been a lot of pay-per-views with ESPN, but they've had really put good fights on ESPN. What does it say about the state of boxing, if anything? I mean, we got Turki Al-Sheikh putting on the best cards in history right now, and we're getting all the fights we want, but ESPN says, hey, we're not even interested. Like, what do you make of this?
So what I've heard is that Top Rank wanted to go to DAZN, but they also wanted to go to other networks too. So they didn't want to just commit to one network. That's what I heard, right? I heard Bob Arum said that as well.
Right.
He's quoted as saying that, like, we would like to work with the Zone, but we don't, we still want to work with other networks too. Now, I also heard that they may go back to the table with ESPN and have a deal with less money. It's another thing I heard. So I don't know. Again, these are all that I heard, but I can't confirm. But I actually heard Bob say that he did want to work with the Zone, but he just didn't want to give them exclusivity, right? He wanted to be able to shop around and have deals with other networks as well, or another network, he said. So I don't know if that means he still wants to do work with ESPN, or if he still maybe deal with Peacock a little bit, or maybe even Amazon Prime. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with Amazon Prime moving forward as well too with PPC, because I at least expected that this would be the year that we'd actually start getting the ball rolling and seeing more events, but
we're seeing
hasn't happened. There's
we're
no schedule.
Nothing from BBC.
Yeah, there's no schedule. Yeah. So I don't know.
And I think the Fundora fight is going to be on just regular Prime, I guess.
Yeah. And the whole thing, it's crazy too, because I was very skeptical whether or not Fundora was going to fight Spence. And I'm still very skeptical if Spence even fights again, or even if he should fight again.
I don't know that he should. I mean, his heart's not. Clearly, his heart's not in it. Man.
And he just, I don't know, man. It was crazy. So I don't know what's going to happen.
And you figure that car wreck too. I mean,
car wreck doesn't help.
Let me tell you what. I can't imagine the PTSD that he gets from that car wreck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's some traumatic thing. That's a traumatic thing, man. That was crazy, man.
You don't get over that.
No.
You don't get over that. That was a horrible incident, So
yeah, for sure.
We'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting. The good thing is, and I've said this before, and I saw the writing on the wall, with the addition of all these platforms, you can criticize and go back to the days of nostalgia if you want, the good old days, the golden years of boxing, the 70s and the 90s. I get it. It was great to have the TV on, ABC, NBC, whatever. I get it. Yeah. But we've never been in a time now where we've had this much accessibility to fights.
You can't even compare
all
the two.
Over the world. I'm at the gym and I'm popping open the apps, watching fights. I can watch these fights on the road. Like technology.
Fights. Crazy, right?
Technology is really taking this sport to another level. And the good thing too now, even with Americans, you still have these xenophobic people who just don't want to watch anything but American boxing. They won't give anyone but American boxing networks credit. But you are still seeing a lot of people on Twitter really get behind a lot of these foreign fighters. Like, a lot of Americans know who guys like Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Naoya Inoue are. Like, so you're seeing the sport become more global, and America, a good part or a larger part of Americans, there's still some hard heads out there that won't transition over. But a lot of American fans are starting to embrace the sport being global now, and they're fans of a lot of these foreign fighters now. So to me, you can say what you want, like people, pay-per-views dead, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? More people globally are watching the sport of boxing than ever before.
That's a very good point. And you know what? I'm glad you talked me off that ledge, because I'm thinking to myself, are we really losing ground or whatever? But you know what? You're 100% right. And I'm glad. Any fight you want to watch, you
can watch fights on Peacock, The Zone, ESPN Plus, Amazon Prime, right? Netflix. That's 5.
Yeah.
And you can watch it on regular ESPN.
YouTube. Yeah. And you can see all the back fights. All those fights that you loved growing up, they're all on there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man, I love it. We're in the golden age right now.
I think we're in a good place.
I do too.
A really good place.
Yep.
Boxing is not dead.
All right. Well, that makes me feel better, Beeb. You've convinced me.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, that's right. Sebastian Fundora will defend against Cordell Booker March 22nd in Las Vegas. He's found a replacement for Spence. So, Beeb, what do you think?
Good for him. I mean, but
yeah,
it's not the huge fight that he wanted, but
no.
He's a young kid. He's got to stay busy.
Yep, I agree. What are you going to do? All right. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on X at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporter.com. You can find me on X at ringside73, and we will see you guys next week.